What is going on, my fellow nerds? Operator Otter here. So here's the thing. I built this channel off of Necromancer content, and a lot of my OG fans remember me for making that Necromancer content, but I haven't played Necromancer in over a year. And the reason being was, well, they just didn't really make builds that really tickled my fancy in terms of the playstyle. But they have buffed 3 builds that I am very excited to play, and so because of that, your boy is going to be returning to Necromancer for Season 9. So if you want to come on the stream on July 1st and support me in that 24-hour stream, I'd love to see you there. Now for this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over a complete tier list for every single Necromancer build, from worst to best. That's going to cover all of our pit clear builds and our speed content builds. That's going to be Torment for open world and our escalation dungeons. So without further ado, let's get started. So first thing, 2 disclaimers. First, credit where credit is due. Kay is the person who helped me make this list. He is a content creator and theory crafter from Goblin Incorporated, so make sure to go over there and show some love and support. Second, this is theory crafting, guys. Yeah, it ain't over till the fat lady sings, and though Kay and I have been playing this game for over 2 years and we're pretty locked in on what's going down, you just don't know until you know. A lot of these changes came post PTR, and it could definitely fluctuate. So with that being said, take this with a grain of salt. So yeah, let's go. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the worst builds for pit pushing, which is going to be first Affliction. Affliction just has really, really bad base damage, so it is what it is, and even with the buffs, it's just not going to be enough. So yeah, Affliction is just bad. Don't know what to say. After that is going to be the Snapshot Ultimates. Snapshotting doesn't work, so is what it is, right? After that, we got Blood Surge. Blood Surge was balanced around Overpowers, and they nerfed Overpowers by removing how the max life and the fortified scaled with it, so Overpowers just don't have the punch that they nearly used to have. After that is Plagued Corpse Explosion. It just doesn't have enough general multipliers that actually affect the Corpse Explosion itself. On top of that, like, what key passive does it run? Like, the only one it can run is Affliction. It's just a 45% damage multiplier with the buff. It went from 15% to 45%, but that's just not enough. It's really rough that, like, they made a skill that just doesn't really scale with anything, but it is what it is. After that is going to be Bloodlance. Bloodlance suffers from the same problem as Blood Surge. It's overpower nerfs. After that, we have our Bone Spear. Bone Spear had some Deathless Visage nerfs. They reduced it by half, and then on top of that, they just has really low base damage, so it's just not going to do well. After that, we have our X-Falls Ebon Piercer. So X-Falls in a vacuum is actually just really bad because it just doesn't really do that great of damage. It also has an internal cooldown, but Ebon Piercer is not bad. So essentially, it's not super bad, but it's just piggybacking off of a build that's really good and could be replaced by something that could actually make Ebon Piercer better. So it's just a worse version of a better build. After that, we have Shattered Spirit. Now, we don't exactly know what's going to be happening with the interaction of Shattered Spirit with the new Pain Gorgeous Gauntlets actually modifying this crit strike, because what used to happen is, though it launched out 18 splinters, only one of the splinters actually got affected by Pain Gorgers. If they make it to where all 18 bone splinters are actually getting modified by Pain Gorgers, then like this could really shoot up the ranks and actually be pretty decent. But until we know for sure, it seems like it's going to be pretty down there, so just take it with a grain of salt. This one could fluctuate. After that is going to be Blighted Corpse Explosion. Blighted Corpse Explosion in AoE setting is like, yikes, it's so strong. The problem with it is it's single target damage, because it just doesn't have enough single target corpse reduction to support Black River just like going ham and just like going off with the corpse explosions. So because of that, it's just kind of rough. The other thing is that there is a wither cap. It caps at 2000 intelligence when we can get up to like 33 to 3400, so that just feels really bad, is what it is. After that, we have Blood Spear. With Blood Spear, what they decided to do was to nerf Bone Duster's aspect. So now, instead of every single time you cast Bone Spear and it overpowering, it's just going to be the very first Bone Spear that goes through is going to overpower. So yeah, that build just kind of got like gutted in the dirt. Don't exactly know why, but it did, so it is what it is. After that, we have a Dot Ebon Piercer. The problem with Dot Ebon Piercer is that it has capped Wither, and there's just a better version of Ebon Piercer build that we are going to run that just does better than Dot Ebon Piercer. All right, moving up into the next tier, which is going to be our really good performers that we suspect is going to be Sever. Sever just has really good base damage, but they have overpower nerfs, and it doesn't have a keystone. It falls in the same problem as Plagued Corpse Explosion. It has to use Affliction. It just doesn't use anything else, which just feels really bad. But it does have great base damage, so is what it is. After that, we have Golem. We don't know exactly where Golem is going to land because of the Hulking Monstrosity buff, giving it 35% per sacrifice on the mages and the warriors. We don't know where that's going to land, but we think it's going to land somewhere around there. After that, we have Mages. Mages are looking really good because they are fixing 2 things on the Hand of Nas. First, they are going to be buffing the delay of the Archmage Splinters actually going out and doing AoE damage with with 100% damage multiplier. This is going to happen twice as often, so that's a great buff. On top of that, they are actually fixing the issue where the skeletal mage and mastery ranks actually aren't going to scale with Hand of Nas now, so mages should be doing some pretty good work. Expect some pretty good things from mages. After that is going to be Overpower Blood Wave, because Overpower got nerfed, but Blood Wave is still going to be a very easy build to put together, so expect most people to run this. After that, we're going to go into our meta strongest builds. These are S tiers. First one is going to be Bone Spirit. This is going to be because of a ossified essence buff right here. As you can see, it's going from 100% to 140%, which is a big damage buff. And then on top of that, we're also getting Aspect of Swelling Curse that allows our bone skills to actually dip into shadow damage multipliers. So yeah, Bone Spirit is gonna be hitting real hard, and it does not depend on overpowers, so it's really nice. After that, we're going to be having our Dot Blood Wave. This is a build that was actually created by Lord Sora. Make sure to give him some love. This is the guy that came up with it in the Season 9 PTR, and it is just doing work. It is a great build, so go ahead and watch this video and kind of see it in action. He does really good work with it, so I expect good things from Dot Blood Wave, just because it just turns out that the aspect of Ultimate Shadow just has insanely high base damage, so that's the reason why it works really well. After that, the best build we think is going to happen for the pit is going to be Shadow Blight Ebon Piercer. And the reason being is because Shadow Blight is going to get increased from 300% to 450% with the scaling going from 20% to 70%. It was really hard for us to actually get to 300% multiplicative damage with shadow damage, because it meant you had to have 1500% shadow damage in your build to actually get to that 300% multiplier on Shadow Blight. But now, because of this buff to 70%, you actually only need 650% to get to a 450% multiplier. So you only need half as much shadow damage in your build to get 50% more damage than you did in the PTR, which is wild. And then on top of that, Blighted is actually just going to get another 50% damage buff. So Shadow Blight is legitimately just going to deal more than twice as much damage as it did in the PTR, and it was looking wild in the PTR. So I have very good hopes for Shadow Blight just being the absolute GOAT for pit pushing for the Necromancer in Season 9. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about our speed builds. These are going to be the builds that we're going to be using for the open world, like Infernal Hordes, Nightmare Dungeons, Escalation Sigils, Undercity, stuff like that. Things that move really fast and have really good damage profiles. We're going to be going through this really quick because there's a lot of them that are in stop, and there's very few that are anywhere else. So yeah, let's just get started. The first one is going to be the worst. Snapshots, they don't work, right? Next is going to be Affliction, too low damage. Next one is going to be Blood Spear, because it requires Bone Prison. We need to do damage now. Don't require Bone Prison to do what we need to do. After that is going to be Plagued Corpse Explosion. Low base damage, no keystone, and no good multipliers. Yeah, it's just not, it just doesn't do it. After that is going to be our Shadow Blight Ebon Piercer, and the reason being for this is that it requires ramp. It requires like 10 instances of shadow damage to happen before, oh, now it does damage, right? After that is going to be Shattered Spirit. Now, the reason being for this is that what happens is when you cast Bone Spirit, the splinters go out first, and the splinters can kill targets. And when the splinters kill targets, your Bone Spirit just kind of sits there and just kind of like wanders off into Zimbabwe, and it needs to hit something in order to reset itself. So, suffering from success. After that is going to be Blood Lance. Blood Lance requires you to create a corpse and then suck everything in with tendrils to then actually do damage. And when we need setup, it's just not a good speed build. After that is going to be our Golem. Golem is great. It does great damage, but its damage profile is just really bad. It's just a very small AoE area. It needs to be bigger and it needs to be faster. So yeah, it is what it is. After that is going to be X-Falls. X-Falls is just a worse version of a better build, and it has an internal cooldown, so like, why? And then lastly in this is going to be Blood Surge, because it was balanced around Overpower, but they completely nerfed Overpower, so now Blood Surge just like doesn't do any damage whatsoever. Now the next two builds that are going into unknown potential is going to be Overpower Blood Wave and Dot Blood Wave. Now Sora does have a build that he showed that was doing a speed, as you can see, Necro Teleport with regular Blood Wave. You can go ahead and watch this and kind of see what's going on there. Here's the thing, they are nerfing the amount of blood orbs that you are going to create from Blood Wave from 3 to 2. So we don't know if Aspect of Fast Blood being nerfed kind of indirectly that way, and the fact that Decrepify just isn't going to have a chance to go off because you're just going to kill things in one shot is actually going to make Blood Wave like work. Right, so this is kind of unknown. It could be actual speed farm, it could be meh. We don't really know where it's going to land, so this one's just kind of up in the air. After that is going to be Blighted Corpse Explosion. Great damage profile, but the problem is that Army of the Dead actually has to like go out and hit the target so that it creates a corpse, and then boom, you blow up the corpse, and now the thing does die, right? So it requires time. We don't want to require time, right? After that is going to be Mages. Mages just function really funky when you start moving really fast, and on top of that, when they get hit by something, they teleport because of Hand of Nas. So they act very funky clunky in a speed environment. They don't do really all that great. After that is going to be Bone Spear. Bone Spear has a decent damage profile, but it just has really low base damage. That's just all it is. Sever is like the same thing going into the actual speed farm builds. These are like the ones you should be building for speed farm. Sever is just better than Bone Spear because it's just instant demand damage, really high base damage. It just does everything that Bone Spear does better. After that is Dot Ebon Piercer. This is just fire and forget. You run through, you fire it, the dots hit the targets and they just melt away and bam, like it's worked. Sometimes you might have to fire it twice on an elite in order for them to melt because like only one of the little dots will hit them. So, you know, is what it is there, but whatever. So this means that the best speed farm build is going to be Bone Spirit, Shadow Bone Spirit. Yeah, there's no setup. It's instant damage and it has the best damage profile. It blows up the entire room and it is also the most fun build we have played. Like out of all the builds for pit pushing and speed, this Shadow Bone Spirit build is so unbelievably fun. Followed closely by Shadow Blight for pit pushing, but Bone Spirit is so fun. It is so much fun. So stay tuned for a build guide on that one. But yeah, those are all the builds from worst to best for speed clearing and for pit pushing. Hope you enjoyed. Go ahead and let us know in the comment section below what you plan to play for season 9, or if you're skipping out, it is what it is. But I would love to hear what you guys are gonna be doing. I'd love to see you in support in that stream coming on July 1st. Other than that, have yourselves a wonderful day.